She cheated on me.
The iPad glowed in the darkness of our bedroom, casting an eerie blue light across Mia's sleeping face. I couldn't sleep again. Hadn't been able to for weeks now. Something was wrong with my marriage, and I was determined to figure out what. "Honey, you left your iPad unlocked," I whispered, but she didn't stir. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My finger hovered over the screen. 40 years old, and here I was, contemplating snooping through my wife's messages like some paranoid teenager. But the late nights, the secretive phone calls, the sudden interest in yoga classes that seemed to last 4 hours, it all added up to something I didn't want to face. The message thread with Jason M. sat right there at the top. "Jason, can't wait to feel you again tomorrow, Mia. Same here. Ethan's working late as usual. We'll have plenty of time, Jason. Your husband's an idiot for not appreciating what he has. Mia, don't worry about him. He's too buried in his legal briefs to notice anything." My hands started shaking. 18 years of marriage, and this is what it came to. I scrolled up, finding months of explicit messages, photos that made my stomach turn, detailed plans for their encounters while I was at the office working my ass off to pay for her yoga classes and spa treatments. "Ethan?" Mia stirred beside me. "What are you doing up?" I set the iPad down carefully, my lawyer brain already shifting into analytical mode. "Just thinking about us, sweetheart." She rolled over, her blonde hair catching the moonlight streaming through our bedroom window. Even now, even knowing what I knew, she was beautiful. That made it hurt worse. "What about us?" she asked, suddenly more awake. I could have confronted her right then, could have shown her the iPad, demanded explanations, begged her to work things out. Instead, I heard myself say, "I think we need to talk." She sat up, and I saw something flicker in her eyes. Fear? Guilt? Talk about what? About Jason Miller. The color drained from her face. For a moment, the only sound was the old heating system clicking on downstairs. Then she did something I didn't expect. She laughed. "Jason? What about him?" "Mia, I know." She stared at me for a long moment, then her expression hardened into something I'd never seen before. "Know what exactly?" I picked up the iPad and showed her the screen. Her own words stared back at her, explicit and undeniable. "Oh," she said quietly. "Oh?" I repeated. "That's it? 18 years of marriage and all you have to say is oh?" She stood up, wrapping her silk robe around herself. "What do you want me to say, Ethan? That I'm sorry? That it didn't mean anything?" "Did it? Mean anything?" She walked to the window, looking out at our perfectly manicured suburban street. "I'm in love with him." The words hit me like a physical blow. I'd expected denials, tears, pleas for forgiveness. I hadn't expected the truth delivered so coldly. "How long?" I asked. 6 months. "Why?" She turned to face me, and for the first time in years, she looked truly honest. "Because he makes me feel alive. Because when I'm with him, I remember who I used to be before I became Mrs. Ethan Carter, wife of the boring lawyer who works 70 hours a week and thinks excitement is trying a new brand of coffee. So this is my fault? It's nobody's fault, it just is." I stood up, surprised by how calm I felt. The initial shock was wearing off, replaced by something colder. "Pack your things." "What?" "You heard me. Pack your things and get out. Ethan, we should talk about this. Figure out what we want to do." "I know what I want to do. I want you out of my house. Our house. My house. Check the deed, sweetheart. It's in my name only. Wedding gift from my parents, remember?" She stared at me, and I saw the first flicker of uncertainty cross her face. "You can't just throw me out." "Watch me." I walked to our closet and started pulling out her clothes, dumping them on the bed. You can stay at Jason's place. I'm sure he'll be thrilled to have you there full time. Stop it! She grabbed my arm. We need to discuss this like adults. I turned to face her, and she must have seen something in my expression that made her step back. Adults? I said quietly. Adults don't sneak around behind their spouse's back for 6 months. Adults don't use joint credit cards to pay for hotel rooms with their lovers. Adults don't lie every single day for half a year. How did you... I'm a lawyer, Mia. I know how to follow a paper trail. I continued packing her belongings, working with methodical precision. 18 years of shared life, reduced to suitcases and boxes. Where am I supposed to go? She asked. That's not my problem anymore. She sat down heavily on the bed, finally seeming to grasp that this wasn't going the way she'd expected. I thought we could work something out. A separation, maybe. Time to figure things out. Time for you to keep screwing Jason while I pay the bills? It's not like that. It's exactly like that. I zipped up the last suitcase. There, that should get you started. Ethan, please, can't we at least try counseling? I looked at her sitting there among her packed belongings and felt absolutely nothing. The woman I'd loved for 2 decades had become a stranger. No. She started crying then, but they felt like performance tears. I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen. For 6 months it happened. Every day you woke up next to me and chose to lie. Every time you kissed me goodbye and went to meet him. Every time you came home smelling like his cologne and told me you'd been at yoga. I do go to yoga. After you slept with Jason Miller. She flinched at my language. I never swore around her, had never raised my voice, had been the perfect gentleman for 18 years. I'm not the same person I was an hour ago, Mia. That person believed in our marriage. That person trusted you. That person is gone. I carried her suitcases downstairs and she followed, still crying. At the front door, I set them down and turned to face her. I'll have divorce papers drawn up tomorrow. Don't contest it, and I'll be generous with the settlement. And if I do contest it? I smiled, and it felt cold even to me. Then you'll find out why I've never lost a case in family court. She stared at me for a long moment. I don't know you anymore. Good. That makes us even. After she left, I sat in my kitchen with a cup of coffee and started making lists. Assets to protect, accounts to freeze, evidence to preserve. I had work to do. My phone buzzed with a text from her. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I deleted it without responding. Then I opened my laptop and started typing. The petition for divorce was going to be a work of art. My paralegal Greg looked up from his computer screen as I walked into the office the next morning. You look like hell, boss. Thanks for the pep talk. I handed him a flash drive. I need you to run a full background check on Jason Miller. Real estate developer, drives a red Porsche, probably lives in one of those overpriced condos downtown. Greg raised an eyebrow. This about your divorce? This is about due diligence. Right. He plugged in the drive. What am I looking for? Everything. Business licenses, tax liens, court records, property ownership, credit reports. If he's ever gotten a parking ticket, I want to know about it. Legal stuff only? Of course. I'm an officer of the court, Greg. I don't break the law. I just know how to use it better than most people. 3 hours later, Greg knocked on my office door with a thick folder. Your boy Jason's got some interesting financial habits. I gestured for him to sit down. Tell me. 3 LLCs, all registered to the same address. 2 of them show losses for the past 3 years, but he's still driving a $100,000 car and living in a penthouse that rents for $8,000 a month. Interesting. Gets better. He's got a business partner named Rick Santoro. They've been buying up properties in the warehouse district, supposedly for development, but nothing's been developed. They're just sitting on empty lots. Money laundering? Can't prove it, but the timing's suspicious. Big cash purchases right after Rick got out of prison for tax evasion. I leaned back in my chair. What else? Your wife's been using the joint credit card to pay for a lot of interesting things. Hotel rooms, expensive dinners, weekend trips to the coast. All while you were in court or working late. How much? $12,000 in the past 4 months. I felt my jaw clench. $12,000 of my money to finance her affair. That's about the size of it. What about assets? The house is yours free and clear. Cars are in your name. The joint checking account has about 15 grand in it. Savings account has 42,000. Freeze everything. Transfer the money to my personal account. She wants to play house with Jason. She can do it on his dime. Already done. Also changed the locks on the house and installed a security system. Guy owed me a favor. This is why I kept Greg around. He anticipated problems before they became problems. What about her family? Rich parents, but they never liked you. They'll probably support her in the divorce. Let them. Money can't buy you a clean conscience. My phone rang. Mia's name appeared on the screen. Ethan, my credit cards aren't working. That's because I canceled them. You can't do that. I can, and I did. They were linked to accounts in my name. How am I supposed to pay for things? That's between you and Jason. This is ridiculous. I need access to our money. There is no our money anymore, Mia. There's my money which I earned, and there's whatever money you can earn or convince your boyfriend to give you. I have rights. Yes, you do. You have the right to hire a lawyer and fight me in court. You have the right to explain to a judge why you spent $12,000 of marital funds on your affair. You have the right to have all those explicit text messages entered into evidence as part of the public record. Silence on the other end. I thought so, I continued. Sign the papers when they're served, take the settlement I offer, and we can both move on with our lives. I want half of everything. Then you'll get nothing. Your choice. I hung up and looked at Greg. She'll be back. You sure about that? She's got nowhere else to go. Jason's broke, her parents will cut her off when they find out about the affair, and she's never held a job in her life. She'll sign. And if she doesn't? I smiled. Then I'll destroy her in court and enjoy every minute of it. That evening, I went to Murphy's Bar, a dive place near the courthouse where lawyers and cops hung out after work. I needed a drink and some normal conversation. Ethan! Detective Paula Gibbs waved me over to her table. Heard you're going through some changes. Paula lived 2 houses down from me. She'd probably seen Mia leaving with her suitcases. Word travels fast. Small town. Buy you a drink? Whiskey. Make it a double. She signaled the bartender. Want to talk about it? Not much to say. My wife was having an affair. Now she's my ex-wife. Sorry to hear that. Mia always seemed what? High maintenance. I laughed. That's one way to put it. You doing okay? I'm fine. Better than fine, actually. For the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe. Paula nodded. Sometimes the end of something bad is the beginning of something good. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Stay away from Mia or you'll regret it. I showed it to Paula. Looks like Jason's feeling threatened. You want me to run the number? No need. I know who sent it. I typed back, come see me in person if you have something to say. You sure that's smart? Paula asked. I'm not afraid of Jason Miller. Maybe you should be. I ran his background when you mentioned the name. He's got a temper and a history of bar fights. Good thing I've got friends in law enforcement. She raised her glass. To new beginnings. To getting even. We drank, and I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. The next morning, I was having coffee on my back patio when Jason Miller's red Porsche pulled into my driveway. I watched through the kitchen window as he got out, adjusting his expensive suit and checking his hair in the side mirror. I opened the front door before he could knock. Jason, what a pleasant surprise. He was shorter than I'd expected, maybe 5'8", With the kind of tan that came from a bottle and muscles that came from a gym membership he probably didn't use enough. His cologne was overwhelming. "We need to talk," he said, trying to look intimidating. "Sure, come in." He followed me into the living room, looking around at the furniture Mia had picked out, the artwork she'd insisted we needed, the life we'd built together. "Nice place," he said. "Thanks. Mia always had good taste. In decorating, anyway." He bristled at that. "Look, Carter, I know you're pissed off, but this doesn't have to get ugly. Doesn't it? Mia and I are in love. It's not some cheap affair. We're talking about getting married. Congratulations. I'm sure you'll be very happy together." He looked confused. This wasn't going the way he'd expected. "The thing is," he continued, "Mia's worried about the divorce. She thinks you're going to try to screw her over." "Screw her over? Like she screwed me over for 6 months?" "That's different." "How?" "She wasn't happy. You neglected her. A woman like Mia needs attention, affection. You were too busy with work to give her what she needed." I sat down in my leather chair and gestured for him to take the couch. "So it's my fault." "I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. I'm saying these things happen." "You're right. They do happen. Marriages end, people move on, life goes on." "Exactly. But here's the thing, Jason. You didn't just steal my wife. You helped her steal my money. $12,000 of my money, to be precise." His face went pale. "I don't know what you're talking about. Hotel rooms, expensive dinners, weekend trips, all paid for with joint credit cards while I was working to pay the bills. That's between you and Mia." "No, it's between all three of us. You benefited from stolen money. That makes you an accessory. You can't prove I knew where the money came from." I pulled out my phone and showed him a photo. Him and Mia at an expensive restaurant, her credit card visible on the table. "Funny thing about restaurants these days, they all have security cameras." He stared at the photo. "Where did you get this?" "I'm a lawyer, Jason. I know how to gather evidence." "What do you want?" "I want you to disappear." "What?" "Leave town, leave Mia. Find yourself a nice girl who isn't married and start over somewhere else." He laughed, but it sounded nervous. "You're crazy if you think I'm going to do that." "Then you're crazy if you think I won't destroy you." "You can't touch me." I leaned forward. "I've spent the last 2 days learning everything there is to know about you, Jason. Your business dealings, your financial situation, your partnership with Rick Santoro." The mention of Rick's name made him flinch. "Interesting properties you've been buying. Empty lots that never get developed. Cash purchases that don't match your declared income. I'm sure the IRS would love to take a closer look at your books." "You're bluffing." "Am I?" I pulled out a thick folder. "Tax returns for the past 3 years, bank statements, property records, business licenses. Should I continue?" He stood up. "This is harassment. This is research. All perfectly legal, all part of the public record. The harassment comes later." "You threatening me?" "I'm promising you. Stay away from my wife, stay out of my life, and we can all move on peacefully. Keep interfering, and I'll make it my personal mission to ruin you." He headed for the door. "Mia was right about you. You are a cold bastard. She hasn't seen anything yet." After he left, I called Greg. "How's that background check coming?" "Getting more interesting by the hour. Your boy Jason's got creditors circling like sharks. He's 3 months behind on his condo rent, his car payments overdue, and his business partner's been asking a lot of questions about missing money." "Missing money?" "Rick Santoro put up most of the cash for their property deals. Turns out Jason was supposed to be managing the money, but some of it's unaccounted for." "How much?" "Couple $100,000, I whistled. "That's serious money. Gets better. Rick's not the kind of guy you want to owe money to. He's got connections, if you know what I mean." "Interesting. What else?" "Mia's been calling your office every hour. She wants to talk." "Let her call. I'm not ready to talk to her yet." "What's the plan?" "The plan is to let Jason and Mia figure out what life looks like without my money. Then we'll see how much they really love each other. That afternoon, I drove to Jason's condo building. The doorman knew me. I'd represented him in a custody case 2 years ago. "Mr. Carter, good to see you. What brings you downtown?" "Just checking on a friend, Tommy. Jason Miller in the penthouse. He's been having some financial troubles. I wanted to make sure he's okay." Tommy's expression changed. "Oh, Mr. Miller. Yeah, he's been having some issues. Building management's been asking questions about his rent." "Really? 3 months behind. They're talking about eviction." "That's too bad. He always seemed like such a successful guy." "Yeah, well, you never know what people are dealing with behind closed doors." I slipped Tommy a 50. "If anything interesting happens with Mr. Miller, give me a call." "Sure thing, Mr. Carter." That evening, Mia finally showed up at my door. She looked tired, her usually perfect makeup smudged, her designer clothes wrinkled. "We need to talk," she said. "Now you want to talk?" "Ethan, this is getting out of hand. Jason told me about your conversation this morning." "Did he? What did he tell you?" "That you threatened him, that you're trying to destroy his business. His business is destroying itself. I'm just watching. You can't do this." "Can't do what? Can't protect myself? Can't investigate the man who's been sleeping with my wife and spending my money?" It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I stepped aside to let her in. "You look tired, Mia. Jason's condo not as comfortable as our house?" "I'm staying at Vanessa's." Vanessa, her best friend and partner in gossip. "How's that working out?" "It's temporary. Everything's temporary. The question is, what comes next?" She sat down on the couch where Jason had sat that morning. "I want to come home." "This isn't your home anymore." "Ethan, I made a mistake, a terrible mistake, but we can work through this." "No, we can't." "Why not? We loved each other once." "Once. Past tense. I still love you." I looked at her sitting there, trying to look vulnerable and appealing, and felt nothing but contempt. "No, you don't. You love the lifestyle I provided. You love the security, the money, the status. You don't love me." "That's not true." "Prove it." "How?" "Tell me about Jason." She looked confused. "What about him? Tell me about your relationship, what you love about him, what your future plans are." You can't, can you? Because there's nothing to tell. He's broke, Mia. His business is failing, he's behind on his rent, and he's got creditors looking for him. The only reason he wanted you was because you represented stability. My stability. You're lying. Am I? When's the last time he paid for dinner? When's the last time he took you somewhere that didn't require a credit card with my name on it? She stared at me, and I saw the realization dawning in her eyes. "He loves me," she said weakly. "He loves my money. And now that it's gone, let's see how much he loves you." She started crying again, real tears this time. "What am I supposed to do?" "That's not my problem anymore. I have nowhere to go." "You should have thought of that before you decided to cheat on me." She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. "When did you become so cruel?" "When I found out my wife was a liar and a thief. I never stole anything. $12,000 says otherwise." She stood up, anger replacing the tears. "Fine. I'll fight you. I'll take you to court and get what I deserve." "What you deserve is nothing. But if you want to fight, bring it on. I'll enjoy destroying you in front of a judge." "We'll see about that." After she left, I poured myself a drink and sat down to plan my next move. The game was just getting started. 2 weeks later, the plan was working perfectly. Jason's business partnership with Rick Santoro had exploded in spectacular fashion. Greg's contacts at the courthouse told us that Rick had filed a lawsuit claiming Jason had embezzled funds from their joint ventures. The red Porsche had been repossessed, and Jason was now driving a beat-up Honda that probably belonged to one of his remaining friends. Mia had moved out of Vanessa's place after their friendship imploded over unpaid bills and borrowed money. She was now staying at a cheap motel on the outskirts of town, working part-time at a department store makeup counter. The transformation from suburban princess to working-class reality was brutal to watch, but I felt no sympathy. I was leaving the courthouse after a routine hearing when Jason cornered me in the parking lot. "This is all your fault," he said, his face red with anger and desperation. "What's my fault, Jason? You know what? You destroyed my business, turned Rick against me, ruined my life. I didn't do anything. I just let people know the truth about who you really are. You fed information to Rick about the missing money." "What missing money?" "You know exactly what I'm talking about." I looked around the parking lot. A few other lawyers were getting into their cars, but no one was paying attention to us. "Jason, if money went missing from your business accounts, that's between you and Rick. I had nothing to do with it." "Bullshit. Rick never would have found out if you hadn't pointed him in the right direction." "Found out what exactly?" His face went even redder. "You know what? I know you're upset about your business troubles, but that's not my fault. Maybe if you'd spent less time sleeping with my wife and more time managing your company's finances, you wouldn't be in this situation. You bastard." "Careful, Jason. We're standing in front of a courthouse, lots of cops around." He looked around nervously, then stepped closer to me. "This isn't over." "Yes, it is. You lost. Accept it and move on. I'm not going anywhere." "Then you're stupider than I thought." He grabbed my arm. "Don't walk away from me." I looked down at his hand on my arm, then back up at his face. "Let go of me." "Or what?" "Or I'll have you arrested for assault." He held on for another moment, then released me. "You think you're so smart." "Smarter than you, apparently." "We'll see about that." He walked away, and I got into my car with a smile. The angrier he got, the more mistakes he'd make. That evening, I was at Murphy's bar with Paula Gibbs, telling her about the parking lot encounter. "You're playing with fire," she said. "Desperate men do stupid things." "That's what I'm counting on." "Ethan, I'm serious. This guy's lost everything. He's got nothing left to lose." "Good. That means he'll do something reckless, and then you can arrest him." "What if he does something reckless to you?" "Then I guess I'll find out how good your response time is." She shook her head. "You're enjoying this too much." "Damn right I'm enjoying it. For 18 years I played by the rules. I was the good husband, the faithful provider, the reliable guy who never made waves. And where did it get me? A cheating wife and a broken heart. So now you're the bad guy? Now I'm the guy who fights back." My phone buzzed with a text from Mia. "Jason's talking about doing something crazy. Please leave him alone." I showed the message to Paula. "Looks like trouble in paradise." "Maybe you should listen to her." Maybe she should have thought about consequences before she started screwing around. I typed back, "Not my problem anymore." Paula finished her drink. "I have to get home. But Ethan, be careful. This whole thing could blow up in your face." It already blew up. Now I'm just cleaning up the mess. After she left, I sat at the bar thinking about Mia's text. What kind of crazy thing was Jason planning? And why was she warning me about it? I got my answer the next day. I was working late at the office when Greg knocked on my door. "Boss, we've got a problem." "What kind of problem?" "The kind with 4 wheels and a crowbar." I followed him to the window. Down in the parking lot, Jason was smashing the windows of my BMW with a crowbar. He was methodical about it, working his way around the car, destroying every piece of glass he could find. "Should I call the cops?" Greg asked. "Not yet. Let him finish." "You're going to let him destroy your car?" "It's insured, and he's giving me exactly what I need." "Which is?" "Evidence." I pulled out my phone and started recording. Jason was so focused on his destruction that he didn't notice me filming from the 3rd-floor window. When he finished with the windows, he started on the body of the car, leaving deep gouges in the paint. "Now call the cops," I said. 10 minutes later, 2 patrol cars pulled into the parking lot. Jason tried to run, but he was out of shape and the cops were younger. They had him in handcuffs before he made it to the street. Paula was one of the responding officers. She looked up at my window and shook her head. An hour later, she came up to my office. "Your car's totaled." "I know. I watched the whole thing. Jason's claiming you drove him to it. Says you've been harassing him, destroying his life. Did he mention that he's been sleeping with my wife for 6 months? He mentioned it. Doesn't justify vandalism." "No, it doesn't." "What's he looking at?" "Felony destruction of property. With his record, probably 6 months in county jail." "Good. Ethan, this has to stop. You got your revenge. Jason's broke, facing jail time, and Mia's living in a motel. Isn't that enough?" I looked out the window at my destroyed car. "Not even close. What more do you want?" "I want them to understand that actions have consequences. I want everyone in this town to know what happens when you cross me." "And then what?" "And then, I move on with my life. Will you? Or will you spend the rest of your life looking for new people to punish?" I turned to face her. "Are you lecturing me, detective? I'm trying to help you. This path you're on, it doesn't lead anywhere good. It leads to justice. It leads to becoming the kind of person you used to prosecute." After she left, I sat alone in my office, looking at the video of Jason destroying my car. Paula was wrong. I wasn't becoming a criminal. I was just evening the score. My phone rang. Mia's number. "Ethan, please. You have to drop the charges against Jason." "Why would I do that?" "Because he's sick. He's having a breakdown. He needs help, not jail. He needed help 6 months ago, before he started sleeping with my wife. This isn't about us anymore. This is about you trying to destroy anyone who gets in your way. Maybe you should have thought about that before you got in my way. I'm begging you. Please. Beg all you want. Jason's going to jail and there's nothing you can do about it." I hung up and called my insurance company to report the vandalism. Tomorrow, I'd have a new car. Jason would still be in jail. The game was almost over, and I was winning. Jason's trial was set for 3 weeks later. In the meantime, Mia made increasingly desperate attempts to get me to drop the charges. She called, texted, showed up at my office, even tried to get our mutual friends to intervene on Jason's behalf. The problem was, we didn't have mutual friends anymore. Word of the affair had spread through our social circle like wildfire, and the consensus was clear. Mia had betrayed a good man, and Jason was a lowlife who'd gotten what he deserved. Vanessa, Mia's former best friend, actually called to apologize to me. "I should have told you what was going on," she said. "I knew about Jason, but Mia made me promise to keep quiet." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I'm a coward, and because I thought it would blow over. I thought she'd come to her senses." Instead, she came to her senses too late. She's really struggling, Ethan. She's lost everything. Good. That's cold, even for you. You think I'm being too harsh? I think you're being human. But maybe it's time to let it go. When Jason's in jail and Mia's learned her lesson, then I'll let it go. The night before the trial, I was at home preparing my victim impact statement when someone knocked on my door. I looked through the peephole and saw Mia standing on my porch, holding a bottle of wine. I opened the door. "What do you want?" "To talk. One last time." "There's nothing to talk about. Please, Ethan, 5 minutes." Against my better judgment, I let her in. She looked terrible. Thin, pale, her hair badly cut, wearing clothes I didn't recognize. The transformation from the woman I'd married to this broken stranger was complete. "You look like hell," I said. "I feel like hell." She held up the wine. "This is the bottle we were saving for our 20th anniversary." "We're not going to have a 20th anniversary." "I know." She set the bottle on the kitchen counter. "I just thought, I don't know what I thought." You thought you could manipulate me one more time. She laughed bitterly. Is that what you think this is? Isn't it? No, this is me trying to say goodbye to the man I loved for 18 years. You should have ended things before you got involved with Jason Miller. She flinched at my language. You never used to talk like that. I never used to have a cheating wife. Fair enough. She looked around the kitchen, at the life we'd built together. Do you remember when we bought this house? Don't. You were so excited about the big kitchen. You said we'd have dinner parties, host holidays, fill it with kids and laughter. Mia, don't do this. We never had kids. We never had the dinner parties. We just existed. Side by side, but not really together. That doesn't justify what you did. No, it doesn't. Nothing justifies what I did, but it explains it. I leaned against the counter, studying her face. So this is my fault again? It's both our faults. We let our marriage die, and then we were both too stubborn to admit it. I didn't cheat. No, you didn't. You just checked out. For the last 5 years you've been going through the motions. Work, home, sleep, repeat. When's the last time we had a real conversation? When's the last time you looked at me, really looked at me, and saw me? I wanted to argue, but she wasn't wrong. Our marriage had been dying for years. I'd just been too busy to notice. That still doesn't excuse the affair. No, it doesn't. I should have talked to you, should have insisted we get counseling, should have done a lot of things differently. But you didn't. But I didn't. She wiped her eyes. And now Jason's going to jail, I'm living in a motel room, and you're… What? Happy? I thought about it. Was I happy? I'd won. My enemies were defeated. My revenge was complete. So why did I feel so empty? I'm satisfied, I said. Are you? Really? Yes. Then why do you look as miserable as I feel? I didn't have an answer for that. Ethan, I'm not asking you to take me back. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just asking you to let Jason go. Why? He's as guilty as you are. Because he's already destroyed. His business is gone. His reputation is ruined. He's lost everything. Putting him in jail won't change what happened between us. It'll make me feel better. Will it? Or will it just make you into someone you don't want to be? I looked at her standing in my kitchen, broken and desperate, and felt a flicker of the old feelings. Not love exactly, but something like compassion. It's too late, I said. The trial's tomorrow. You could ask the prosecutor to drop the charges. Why would I do that? Because the man I married wouldn't want to send someone to jail just for revenge. The man you married was a fool. The man I married was a good man. He might have been boring and distant and too focused on work, but he was good. He had integrity. That man's gone. Is he? Or is he just hurt and angry? I walked to the window, looking out at the street where we'd lived our quiet suburban life. What do you want from me, Mia? I want you to be better than me, better than Jason, better than this whole ugly situation. And if I drop the charges, what then? Then Jason leaves town, I leave town, and you get your life back. I already have my life back. Do you? Or do you just have an empty house and a heart full of anger? I turned to face her. Where would you go? My sister in Portland said I could stay with her until I get back on my feet. And Jason? I don't know. I don't care. We're over. We were over the minute you froze the credit cards, and he realized I wasn't his meal ticket anymore. So you were just using each other. We were filling holes in our lives. It wasn't love, Ethan. It was just need. That makes it worse, not better. I know. We stood there in silence for a long moment. Then she picked up the wine bottle. I'll leave this here. Maybe someday you'll find someone worth sharing it with. Maybe. She walked to the door, then turned back. For what it's worth, I am sorry. Not just for getting caught, but for all of it. You deserved better. Yes, I did. After she left, I sat in my kitchen with the wine bottle, thinking about 18 years of marriage, 6 months of betrayal, and 3 weeks of revenge. Paula was right. I'd won. Jason was broken, Mia was broken, and I was… what? Victorious? Or just alone? I opened the wine and poured myself a glass. It was supposed to be celebratory, but it tasted bitter. The trial was tomorrow. I could still drop the charges. I could let Jason walk away and start over somewhere else. I could take the high road and move on with my life, or I could finish what I'd started. I finished the wine and went to bed. In the morning, I'd decide what kind of man I wanted to be. The courthouse was packed for Jason's trial. Word had spread through town about the love triangle, the affair, the vandalism, and everyone wanted to see how it would end. I sat in the front row, wearing my best suit, ready to watch Jason Miller get what he deserved. Jason looked terrible. 3 weeks in jail had not been kind to him. He'd lost weight, his skin was pale, and his cheap public defender looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. The prosecutor, Assistant DA Michelle Torres, had built a solid case. Security camera footage of the vandalism, my testimony about the damage, expert testimony about the cost of repairs. It was open and shut. "Mr. Carter," Torres said when I took the stand, "can you tell the court about your relationship with the defendant? He was having an affair with my wife. And how did you discover this affair?" "I found explicit text messages between them on my wife's iPad." "How did this discovery make you feel?" "Angry, betrayed, hurt." "Did you confront the defendant about the affair?" "Yes. I told him to stay away from my wife and leave town." "How did he respond?" "He refused. He said they were in love and planning to get married." "And then what happened?" "He destroyed my car with a crowbar." Torres played the security footage for the jury. Jason winced as he watched himself methodically destroying my BMW. "Mr. Carter, what was the total damage to your vehicle?" $32,000. The car was declared a total loss." "Thank you. No further questions." Jason's public defender, a tired-looking man named Bob Henley, stood up for cross-examination. "Mr. Carter, isn't it true that you engaged in a campaign of harassment against my client?" "No." "Didn't you threaten to destroy his business?" "I told him that actions have consequences." "Didn't you provide information to his business partner that led to the dissolution of their partnership?" "I provided publicly available information to anyone who asked for it." "Didn't you use your connections in law enforcement to make life difficult for my client?" "I used my legal knowledge to protect my interests." "So you admit to targeting my client for revenge?" "I admit to defending myself against a man who was stealing my wife and my money." Henley looked frustrated. He'd hoped to make me look like the villain, but the jury wasn't buying it. Jason had destroyed my car on video. Everything else was just context. No further questions. The trial lasted 2 days. Jason didn't testify in his own defense, probably because he would have had to admit to the affair and the financial improprieties. The jury deliberated for less than an hour. Guilty on all counts. Jason slumped in his chair as the judge set sentencing for the following week. 6 months in county jail, 3 years probation, full restitution for the damage to my car. As the courtroom emptied, Jason's lawyer approached me. "My client would like to speak with you." "I have nothing to say to him. He wants to apologize." I looked over at Jason, sitting alone at the defendant's table, looking broken and defeated. "Fine, 2 minutes." Jason stood up as I approached. "Ethan, I'm sorry about everything." "You're sorry you got caught." "No, I'm sorry it happened. All of it. The affair, the money, your car. I was angry and stupid and I made everything worse." "Yes, you did." "Mia's leaving town. She wanted me to tell you that." "I know. She came by last night." "She still loves you, you know." "No, she doesn't. And I don't love her anymore either." Maybe that's for the best. Maybe it is. Jason looked around the empty courtroom. 6 months in jail. That's a long time to think about your mistakes. Use the time wisely. I will. And Ethan? When I get out, I'm leaving town. You'll never see me again. Good. I walked away without looking back. Outside the courthouse, reporters were waiting. Mr. Carter, how do you feel about the verdict? Justice was served. Do you have any regrets about how this situation was handled? I thought about Mia's question the night before. Did I have regrets? Was I happy with who I'd become? No regrets, I said. Actions have consequences. Mr. Miller learned that the hard way. That evening, I went to Murphy's bar to celebrate. Paula was there, along with Greg and several other friends who'd supported me through the divorce and trial. To justice, Paula raised her glass. To moving on, Greg added. To new beginnings, I said. We drank, and for the first time in months, I felt genuinely good. Not just satisfied or vindicated, but actually happy. So what's next? Paula asked. I don't know. Maybe I'll take a vacation. Travel somewhere I've never been. Sounds like a plan. Maybe I'll learn to cook, take up a hobby, start dating again. Slow down there, cowboy. Give yourself time to heal first. I am healed. Revenge is the best medicine. Paula laughed. Is that your professional medical opinion, Dr. Carter? That's my professional legal opinion. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Thank you for letting me say goodbye. I hope you find happiness. I showed it to Paula. Mia's on her way to Portland. How do you feel about that? Relieved. The last chapter of my old life is finally closed. And the first chapter of your new life? I looked around the bar at my friends, at the life I was rebuilding, at the future that stretched out ahead of me. Starts now. We drank until closing time, telling stories and making plans. When I finally got home, the house felt different. Not empty anymore, but full of possibilities. I found the wine bottle Mia had left on the kitchen counter and put it in the basement storage room with the other remnants of my marriage. Someday, maybe I'd find someone worth sharing it with. Or maybe I'd just save it as a reminder of how far I'd come. I went to bed that night with a clear conscience and a satisfied heart. Jason Miller was in jail, Mia was out of my life, and I was free to become whoever I wanted to be. The underdog had won. The last laugh was mine. 3 months later, I was in my office when Greg knocked on the door. Boss, you've got a visitor. Who is it? Detective Gibbs. She looks serious. Paula walked in carrying a manila folder. We need to talk. About what? Jason Miller. I leaned back in my chair. What about him? He's still in jail as far as I know. He was found unresponsive in his cell this morning. The words hit me like a physical blow. Gone? How? Self-inflicted injury. Hanged himself with a bedsheet. I stared at her, trying to process the information. Self-inflicted injury? He left a note, apologizing to his family, to Mia, to you, said he couldn't live with what he'd done. I felt sick. Paula, I never wanted this. I know, but it happened. And now I need to ask you some questions. What kind of questions? Did Jason ever indicate to you that he was suicidal? No, never. Did you have any contact with him while he was in jail? None. I haven't spoken to him since the trial. What about Mia? Any contact with her? She texted me the night of the trial. Said she was leaving town. I haven't heard from her since. Paula nodded, making notes. This is just routine, Ethan. Nobody thinks you did anything wrong. But there will be questions about whether Jason's mental state was considered during sentencing. He seemed fine at the trial, defeated, but not suicidal. Depression can set in fast in jail, especially for someone who's never been locked up before. I thought about Jason sitting alone in his cell, thinking about his ruined life, his lost business, his broken relationship with Mia. Had my revenge pushed him over the edge? Paula, Do you think I'm responsible for this? You're responsible for sending him to jail for vandalizing your car. He's responsible for everything else. But if I hadn't pressed charges, he'd still be a broke ex-con with no future. You didn't make Jason's choices for him, Ethan. He did that all by himself. After she left, I sat alone in my office, staring out the window at the parking lot where Jason had destroyed my car. He was gone. The man who'd taken my wife, drained my finances, and destroyed my marriage was no longer alive, having ended it all himself. I should have felt vindicated. Instead, I felt hollow. Greg knocked on the door. "Boss, you okay?" Jason Miller took his own life in jail. Jesus. I'm sorry. Are you? Or are you thinking he got what he deserved? Greg sat down across from me. He made his decisions, and you made yours. You didn't end his life, Ethan. He ended it himself. But I destroyed his life first. He destroyed his own life when he decided to sleep with your wife. Everything that happened after that was just consequences. Consequences that ultimately led to his end. Maybe. Or maybe he would have ended it anyway when he realized he had nothing left. You'll never know, and it doesn't matter. What matters is that you did what you thought was right. Did I? Or did I just want revenge? Both. And there's nothing wrong with that. That night, I went home to my empty house and poured myself a drink. Jason Miller was gone, and I was alive. I'd won the war, but the victory felt hollow. My phone rang. Unknown number. Ethan, it's Mia. Mia, I heard about Jason. I'm flying back for the funeral. His family wants to meet with me. How are you holding up? I don't know. I keep thinking about what might have been different. If I hadn't cheated, if he hadn't destroyed your car, if you hadn't pressed charges. Don't do that to yourself. Jason made his own choices. Did he? Or did we all just push him until he broke? I didn't have an answer for that. Ethan, I need to ask you something. What? Do you forgive me? I thought about it. Did I forgive her? Could I? I don't know, I said honestly. That's fair. I'm not sure I forgive myself. Mia, what happened to Jason isn't your fault. It's not my fault either. Sometimes people break, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Maybe. But I can't help feeling like we all failed him somehow. He failed himself. Did he? Or did he just make the same mistakes we all make and pay a higher price? After we hung up, I sat in my kitchen thinking about Jason, about Mia, about the choices we'd all made, and the consequences that followed. Jason was gone, Mia was broken, and I was alone with my victory. The next morning, I woke up with a clear head and a firm resolve. Jason Miller's passing was tragic, but it wasn't my fault. I'd played by the rules, used the legal system as it was designed to be used, and protected myself from people who'd tried to hurt me. If Jason couldn't handle the consequences of his actions, that was his weakness, not my fault. I got dressed, went to work, and got on with my life. The last laugh was still mine.